It's kind of been the one circled that the rest of the recruiting lives have just kind of been focused on.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling you guys, I told Lamar last time I saw him in person 2.5 weeks ago maybe, man, I'm just waiting on you at this point, trying to get a little bit of July vacation in. June got so busy with the recruiting camps at LSU and obviously keeping up with the baseball team and their run to Omaha. And then there were a few commitments circled for that July 4th date, as there always are, but particularly in-state. And really also on a national scale, Lamar is as big a fish as there is out there right now, and just been kind of waiting on him anxiously, as I know coaches in Baton Rouge and College Station are this morning.
Right. So, I mean, at this point, it feels like a two-horse race between LSU and Texas A&M.
Yeah, I'd kind of, for a while now, started zeroing in when I interviewed him of, look, I'll ask you about the recent visits and whatnot, but I really want to ask you about LSU and A&M because it has felt like those two in a slugfest for the better part of a year, if not beyond that, last summer, and it certainly feels now down to the wire that it is those two and everyone else, and those two have been neck and neck here, really, where talking to a lot of folks have said, I can't remember the last time we were this close to an announcement of this high profile a guy in state that I've been tapped into the process and really paying attention, that I've been this uneasy, uncertain with it. And it seems like that's been kind of the feeling from the staffs as well, as we trust their process, we feel good about the relationships there, but no final verdict, and we're all kind of waiting on that on Thursday.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the craziest part, is that it's hard to truly have a feel for which direction it's going to go, and it really feels like it's just kind of whatever he says at noon today is what the decision is.
Yeah, I told folks on our board over there at Bengal Tiger that,
that's got to be fun.
For the and they're doing great. Look, props to them. I see people on there too. Like, I think I heard Lloyd, you right before the break, and this is something I emphasize repeatedly, is like some guys want to go different places, and it's as much as everyone here wants to see everyone in purple and gold, or everyone there wants to see everyone in an A&M uni or whatever. Guys have to make whatever their decision is for their one life, and then the programs pivot. And I think the fans on the board have been kind of understanding of that, and they want the hometown guy, and everybody sees how promising a prospect that Lamar is. But I was telling them the last couple of weeks, like coming out of that conversation with him 2.5 weeks ago or so, there was a lot about the conversation that made my gut feel like it was probably A&M.
Yeah.
And so I've been kind of anxious because there's been kind of tea leaves to be read on both sides. I went to bed last night feeling better about LSU and just kind of the vibes coming out of the situation last night. But I mean, I feel anxious today, so I know they do. I know the fans do. I think Lamar probably does, and that's part of it too. Is I think there have been a lot of days where he wakes up and feels a little bit differently than he did the day before, and that he has a lot of love and appreciation for both these staffs and the opportunities they present. But it is a hell of a day for July to be this worked up about football, for sure.
And that's kind of what I wanted to ask you about. You've covered recruiting for a very long time. Like, you've been in the game.
I'm old, Lloyd.
No, it's not even that. It's just you got in the game early. Like, it's like collecting Beanie Babies. It's not my fault that I have a ton of them. Yeah. But whenever you've done it, you've seen the landscape change so much. How much has your mindset changed towards recruiting whenever you see a recruitment go from, we kind of talked about, July 4th to now July 10th, and then you still have signing day, which has also changed. Like, you were there for the days of like the Bayou Bash, where signed, sealed, delivered, done. And now it feels very much in limbo, and I'm sure you've seen like kind of the temperature change around the environment of recruiting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at from like when Shay and I were first starting to kind of pay some attention to this when we were in college 15 years ago now,
so jealous.
Or whatever, and how much just the landscape of college athletics and the world around us with social media and everything have changed. And so everything is, turned up to 11 in terms of the amount of attention that goes into all of this. And, the way the kids handle their recruiting processes just kind of builds on one another from year to year, and they see what this guy did, and okay, let me do this a little bit differently or whatnot. And then obviously the landscape of college athletics continues to change so drastically with early signing period and transfer portal and NIL opportunities and whatnot. And so it just kind of, it really shakes up a lot in terms of roster building and the way the coaches have to go about playing some of these things through the course of the year. And I mean, really years. I mean, we don't want to talk about Bryce Underwood a lot, but like that day last November felt like kind of a watershed moment.
9/11.
Yeah, in the way I was with, I mean, prospects this summer, and we'll see where Tristan Keys ends up at the end of this. Like Tennessee and A&M, Miami, and others continue to push for him, but the amount of concern and, I mean, to the point of like paranoia of where these guys actually going to go, despite the fact they've been committed. You know, some of these prospects are like, man, like Bryce really messed this up. Where, like, everyone's on edge all the time and doesn't believe anything you say anymore. And because, look, there's always been money involved in recruiting, but it's so much more now in terms of some of the numbers are bigger and it's all publicly, it's all more public, and so things can spin on a dime way faster for more guys than used to be the case.
Well, that's where the Underwood conversation changed everything. It became somebody can Godfather offer you $10 million, $12 million, and it becomes, like that. I think that's what caused the paranoia of like, you're not done. Like LSU got it to the 1-inch line.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, I spent enough time with Bryce last year. Like I was a part of that like Flow 7-on-7 group we took out to Florida and whatnot, and the amount of appreciation that he had for LSU and the opportunity that was there. He had his Tiger necklace and whatnot. Loved Joe Sloan. Loved the other members of that class. Like wanted to be a part of that Flow group and get a chance to play with Harlan Berry and Teron Francis and all those guys. And then it just kind of spun on him, obviously. And so that I told Shea December signing day, just with that in the immediate rear view, I was like, I don't know that I'm enjoying this as much as I was, because everything that we know, all the relationships, everything that we've put into trying to get a lay of the land can now switch like that, and it's pretty nerve-wracking for us who want to be able to give folks the updates and some level of definition to a chaotic world. But
you're
that's
essentially a
lot.
stockbroker.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I have information, like if you want to, like Mad Money, if you want to follow me, like sell, then it can change regardless of the information you have.
Yeah, I don't like uncertainty, like in general. I want to know, I like day to day, I want to know what the hell's going on. And so, I mean, to be in this world and the amount of attention that we put into it, it definitely makes it nerve-wracking. But also, you know, circling back to the fact that I am getting a little bit older, I think like just as you get older, you have to have a little bit more perspective and be like, you know, there's going to be another prospect. There's, you know, you have to respect what this kid or that kid or their family want to do, and like can't get all that worked up. And I think even years back, I had enough of a perspective of relationship with the actual prospects and families more so than maybe a lot of fans do. And so, you know, I was excited for Devontae Smith when he catches a national championship winning touchdown. Really pissed off a lot of LSU fans that I was happy for a kid in Tay who I'd watched since he was a sophomore in high school. Yeah. And so I've had a piece of that already where I'm going to be happy for kids. I would love to see them all end up in purple and gold and get a chance to cover them in person for the next 3 to 5 years. But the older you get too, I think the more you have to kind of like even keel out and realize, you know, there's going to be another recruiting class next year, and that you can't get all the way up and all the way down with every